there's just some shit about immigrants and wanting to get rich.
Well, as I said earlier, you know, you didn't get this far. You didn't come all the way to a new country to now get rich, right?
It's debatable, but debatable.
I mean, for me at least, it's like my mom, she made a huge sacrifice to go to another country so I could have a better life, right? She couldn't achieve the amount of success that she wanted because, you know, we moved to a new country, so I have to carry that forward for her.
Yeah, dude. I kind of feel the same pressure, like growing up in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if your mom did this, but like growing up, I had both my mom and dad, but really like only my dad ever spoke to me. And he would repeat the same shit every day. He's like, son, make sure you go to school, get a good job, save all your money.
Of course.
Save all your money. Like, he preached that every single day. He made sure that money was so important because we didn't have any, dude.
Yeah.
We grew up in a 400 square foot studio. I mean, like, this room that you're sitting in is basically our entire apartment for 4 people.
Yeah.
And now it fits 1 couch, you know, so... But yeah, so it makes a difference to want to be successful and have money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, immigrating over from China to Canada, you said at 8, you said?
Yeah, at 8.
Did you feel like that was challenging?
Oh yeah, definitely. One of the not fond memories, but one of my core memories, I remember when we landed off the plane, it was like so cold in Toronto.
Yeah.
And like it was just me and my mom. We had these 2 big ass suitcases, and it was so cold that our tears would come off our face and they'd just start freezing.
It froze on your face like a permanent teardrop.
Yeah, it just like froze on our face. So it was definitely pretty tough.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to have like my mom's friend who was he was supposed to help take care of us. We were supposed to stay with him, but some drama happened. Like his wife didn't want me and my mom to like stay with them, so he just never picked us up.
He waited until you guys got to Canada.
Yeah, no, it was super.
Then dropped the news last minute.
Super messed up.
Yo.
So we just walked around in the snow with our big suitcases, looking for a place to stay.
Dude.
Like snow was like waist high. Yeah, so that was my first like landing experience in Canada. Definitely very humbling.
Damn, dude, that's some shit. That is definitely some shit for an 8-year-old to go through.
Yeah, I mean, I think all those things, I take it as blessings because they build character, right? Like when things get hard, you think to the harder times you've had, and you're like, oh, I did those things. And
yeah, you know, one of the common characteristics that I've picked up from people who make it in society is that they always look at hurdles as blessings, you know, because they really just make you stronger. Like, right. As cliche as it might sound, really what doesn't fucking kill you makes you stronger.
Absolutely.
Like, as cliche as that sounds, it is the truth.
You have to go through it, you know?
Yeah. So why'd you guys leave China?
So it's a few reasons. So number one, my parents, they divorced when I was super young. So like for a long time, just basically hated my dad, never talked to him.
Why? Did you ever find out why they had divorced?
It was just like general incompatibility.
Yeah.
My parents were both pretty busy. My mom was a professor.
Yeah.
My dad, he was an entrepreneur. So, you know, probably the stress added to it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like once they divorced, I also showed like some like entrepreneurial spirit from a very young age. Like I started like recycling bottles when I was 4 years old, and then started I sold bugs as a business when I was 5 in China. So I think my mom kind of saw that in me, and she knew that.
She's like, you're your dad's fucking son.
Yeah, literally. So she wanted to give me the best like foot forward to succeed, and so she decided to quit her job. Like she had a decent job as a professor, and she decided to quit just to immigrate to Canada with me, and literally couldn't get a professor job in Canada, and she just she took on 2 jobs, one as a waitress in the daytime, and then at night she would work at this birthday card factory. So yeah, a lot of sacrifice from her.
So many sacrifices for first generation immigrant parents, like the shit they do for their kids. I almost feel bad, like honestly, like when I grew up, you know, my parents went through something similar, right? Like they worked 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, never a day off type of deal at restaurants. So I get what you're saying, like, fully. And like, there was a time period in my life though, it wasn't fucking like, bougie house, like Rolls Royce, none of that. It was a time period where I was just the family black sheep, like I was the fuck up of the family, like terrible at school. And I felt terrible for that inside. Yeah. Like, so, but one day I snapped out of it and I was like, yo, there's no way that I can let my parents down. They did all this. They left that country so I can have a chance. Yeah. So I kind of like see that. Like, that was playing in my head as you were telling me your story. I was like,
we're very similar. Yeah. Well, like when another one of the reasons I left China was because I did so terribly in school. I think my brain was just not wired to follow the system that they had constructed. Yeah. And so I remember like I would get like straight F's on my tests and everything in first grade, and I would take the paper with me into the bathroom, rip it up into tiny little pieces and flush it down the toilet. That's hilarious, just so I would think my parents wouldn't find out. Obviously they would find out.
Wait, in China, do they give you the A to F?
I think it was like percentages.
Okay.
Yeah, basically F's.
Okay. So here they give you the A to F system, right? So I figured out how to change the F into an A. It's really like, okay, so back then they use carbon copies for your report card. Right. So you put another piece of paper on top and you kind of just stroke it a little bit on the edge, so the F turns into A, and you erase the corner of the F. Yeah. And like you kind of round it out a little bit.
All right, you got the finesse.
Dude, my dad has never been more proud seeing those report cards. But till this day, he didn't know that it was straight F's too. It was hilarious.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You don't, whatever the school system tells you is so not representative of the reality.
It's bullshit, dude. It really is. Like, they brainwash you into studying things that really does not really help you in real life. Right. Like, genuinely.
I mean, the mindset and the way your brain works as an entrepreneur is so different from being an employee, right? And I think school really trains you to be an employee and follow instructions, which I'm terrible at, still am terrible at. Right. So yeah, very different.
Dude, it comes with time, man. Like I'm really bad at following instructions. Dude, there's like something in my brain when somebody tells me to do something, I'm like, fuck off. I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah, you want to do it your own way, right?
But that's not a good thing though. I'm gonna tell you, like, there are times when you have to learn to just go with the flow, man. Yeah. Yeah. Like, so I'm almost 40. I'm now learning that. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, it takes a long time.
Well, I'm here to listen in on your wisdom. I feel like you're like me, but older.
Older you, sitting in front of you. Yeah. So you were a fuck up in school, right? Like, well, we were both fuck ups. When did you make that pivot where you wanted to make a change or do something? What was like the first impactful moment in your life?
So like when I was 6, I was in this like military boot camp, and you're supposed to bring money to buy lunch, but I didn't really know that. And so I had only brought like 100 RMB from basically collecting water bottles and recycling them. And I thought that was enough. I go there and they basically gate all of us off, and it's just like a training ground for kids, right? And it's like a discipline camp. And within like the first week, I had run out of money. And so at this point, I kind of needed to make more money to not starve every day, because they only gave breakfast and dinner, and like they definitely cheaped out on the food. So what I decided to do was I went to the back of my cabins during lunchtime, and I would just catch bugs, right? I would catch like praying mantises and grasshoppers and put them in water bottles, and then I would sell them to my cabin mates as like pet terrariums. And that just started blowing up in my camp, and I started hiring like my cabin mates as well to help me collect the bugs and sell them. And then I came out of the camp with more money than I started with.
Dude, good for you.
Yeah,
that's a good story.
I think that like really showed me something that I was really passionate about, and I from that moment on, I knew what I wanted to do for the rest
Your
of my life.
survival instincts kicked in at 6. You're like, fuck, I'm hungry.
Yeah,
What
right.
the fuck do I do? There's
Right.
nothing here. People are just training.
Right.
I can't talk to my mom. I'm
Mhm.
here. All my other classmates have money. They're going to eat.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
Right.
Do you ever think about eating the bugs?
I think maybe at one point, but
You're like, it's probably better to sell them.
yeah, it's probably better to sell them because like people, like kids were super into bugs. Like you
Yeah.
know, boys like their bugs, I guess.
Yeah, that's good for you, man. Like,
Yeah.
I imagine if I were in your position, I would have eaten the bugs.
Yeah.
I was like, praying mantis.
It's not very tasty, that's for sure.
You don't know that. Shit gets good when you're hungry.
Yeah, that's true. You could probably
So-
eat anything.
So, okay, so you left Canada. You came here for UCI. Were you working already at that point?
Yeah, so I started my next business when I was 12 years old. So I was like super nerdy when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I think it was harder for me to make friends in person, so I met a lot of people online and started playing video games.
What games you play?
It was the
League.
biggest one was Minecraft. I played a
Minecraft.
little bit
Okay.
of League as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I started playing Minecraft religiously when I was like 11.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to make money, so I learned how to make a Minecraft server, and I knew that you could sell ranks and in-game items on
Yeah.
Minecraft. So I started a server called Warzone PvP, and that blew up. It became like one of the biggest servers for the factions game mode for a while. And like, yeah, when I was 12, I made like 10 grand just playing Minecraft, selling perks.
Over how long?
Over a course of like a year.
Dude, that's a lot of fucking money for a 12-year-old.
Yeah, for a 12-year-old.
You know, like, what do 12-year-olds buy anyways?
I didn't buy it. Well, I just bought a new laptop, and then I spent the rest of the money. I reinvested it back into another business. I tried to make a video game.
Yeah.
And failed and lost basically all my money.
Whatever, dude. It's
but I learned so
you
much
learned,
from it.
exactly.
Right. So yeah, it's like, I think that's been my lifelong passion, entrepreneurship. Just like building businesses, having an idea and executing on it and seeing the fruits of your labor. I think that's one of the most rewarding things that has happened to me, at least.
That's super rewarding. Like, I think most 12-year-olds, firstly, they're not fucking around like making Minecraft servers making $10,000 a year, right? But even if they did, they would turn around and blow that on something really stupid, right? Like they'd just go out and buy, I don't know, like 10 Supreme sweaters or something like that,
Yeah.
and then call it a day. But you actually had the foresight to go out there and start another business. To, you know, you're a gambler, dude. You took that money, you
Right.
doubled down on something that you didn't know if it was going to work or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I always say, dude, entrepreneur, we pay for experiences,
Right.
where everyone else, they pay for education.
Absolutely.
You know, like, we get our education in field,
Right.
you know.
And I prefer that
Same.
anytime.